Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. On this planet, we are told that all countries are equal. We have the United Nations and represented by their officials. They vote. We have some more equal than others in the Security Council, okay? But after all, you are, how should I put, a sovereign, independent country if you're strong enough financially, militarily. I should start with the military, uh, financially, and politically if you own other countries. Because you can be a small country, but if the small country owns another country, a big country, then obviously it's just going to do whatever it wants. So we have here a little problem. We have France, which considers itself and prides itself as being very strong and a rich culture, which is true, literature and architecture and so on. Great, fantastic. And not only, used to be very strong in during Napoleon, but that's about what, 200 years ago. Nevertheless, still a power, has nuclear weapons. The problem is it's owned, but not by the French people. You will understand who owns France, the same how United States is owned. So what do we have here? Macron said, that the Olympics that are supposed to occur this year in 2024 in Paris, he said that they requested from Russia to stop the war during the Olympics. And if you remember, the Russians and the conversation here in the West was if the Ukrainians did not want to stop a ceasefire, because they said if we cease fire, the Russians will regroup and we can't let that happen. But now somehow the West wants the Russia to cease fire and the Ukrainians to cease fire. I don't know if the Ukrainians want to cease fire, but nevertheless, Macron said because it's the Olympics, that tradition that was not really observed, but doesn't really matter. We would like to have the Russians cease fire and stop. We will tell the Russians to respect that. This is just a PR stunt. Why? Because if you look back in history, the Olympics still occurred during the Vietnam War. The Olympics still occurred among many, many US military interventions on this planet, for instance. So, it's garbage, and the French as well. But hey, Algeria, we forgot about it. And not only. Now, let's look at this one. Macron tells Russia, you gotta cease fire. And I'm gonna give you Maria Zakharova, the intelligent, ballsy Maria Zakharova, answer. She's gonna smack this weasel to go to his mommy's. I know if now they say she's not a mommy, she's a daddy, but it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. I don't judge. I don't care what she gets, what Macron sucks or what he fucks. I don't care. Okay, so he can whatever. So Macron is gonna go to his mommy. What's her name? Brigitte, his wife, and cry over there, and so on. And she's gonna him a little bit. So what do we have here? Russia rejects President Macron's plea for Ukraine ceasefire during Paris Olympics. Oy vey. Did I disclose anything here? No. So this is per Telegraph. Remember, Macron said, "Yeah, we're gonna tell the Russians because the Russians are evil. We have to do. We have to do that because we are morally superior." And Zakharova is gonna smack Macron. And Macron is going to shut the fuck up. I'm going to show you how. Why? Because she's going to turn the tables on France and say, you will not dare to face those guys. No, yet. All right, here it is. Russia rejects President Macron's plea for Ukraine ceasefire during Paris Olympics. Russia will be asked to observe a ceasefire in Ukraine during the 17 days of the Paris Olympics, according to French President Emmanuel Macron. A guy of a country tells Russia, you're not going to have athletes here, but only the athletes we want. But on the other hand, we also tell you, because we're strong, you should cease fire. Okay, France. Remember, 200 years ago? All right. In an interview on Ukrainian television, it was put to Macron that, a question probably, was put to Macron that Vladimir Putin must, says who, agree to a ceasefire during an Olympics Games in which Russia cannot send a team, but its athletes can compete as neutrals. I read an article, it was 40 Russians are allowed Why? Because they will take the medals these guys otherwise will take. That's the whole thing. Those guys will take the medals, and then you're going to have, who won first? We did. We're the best. Why? Eliminating competition. The same thing with the gas and oil in Europe. Guys, you got to impose sanctions on your own. Don't buy that gas. We're going to bring you liquefied natural gas. If you don't know who I'm talking about, yes, it's Al Capone. Okay? You can't compete, but we tell you what to do. Do you think France is Romania or Albania or, I don't know, Germany? No, Russia is Russia. Jesus Christ. But imagine you being in Russia's shoes and some, I don't know, friends, 60 million people with 200 nuclear weapons that depend on other little country to tell them what the fuck to do, would tell you, oh, you should cease fire, you can't have these athletes, What would you say? Oh, go and take care of your little diverse population that burns your fucking cities. How about that one? Let's move on. And I'm quoting, "It will be requested," replied Macron in French, before a voiceover interpretation gives his response in Ukrainian as, "Yes, we will ask for it." And I'm quoting, "The rule of host country is the move in step with the Olympic movement." The interpreter also quoted Macron as saying, "This is a message of peace." Really? This guy doesn't know history. "We will also follow the decision of the Olympic Committee," which is not have the Russians come over. "The International Olympic Committee condemned Russia's invasion, However, stop supplying arms," Russia tells France. What? So this is what's going on. Commenting on the French president's call for a ceasefire, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Dr. Maria Zakharova urged Macron to stop weapon supplies to Ukraine, the TASS news agency reported. And here, Zakharova also, now here is the knockout, also said Macron should have proposed the same ceasefire to the sides of the conflict in the Middle East. Man, my friends, here it is, right here. Russian representation might be as low as 40. Yeah, so the Americans can win everything. All right. Now, they're going to have to ban China too, and then that would be it. 90% America, America. Anyway, so did you hear what she did? And if you look at the West, some countries, a few countries in the West have this moral superiority that they don't have. They point the finger and they lecture everybody else. If you look at their past, they did more fucked up things than the ones that they point the finger at. So remember, she said, yeah, you're talking about us? How about stop sending weapons over there so you can support the war? Or tell us, I dare you, triple dare you, tell that to those guys in the Middle East. Do you think Macron will say that? He might say, but say, I don't mean it. Please, I don't mean it. I'm a guy. All right, my friends? So I think that's a knockout. Remember, I would say almost every time, because, history repeats. Repeats, different magnitude, different actors, but it repeats. When the Americans say, well, you know what, the Russians want to take those Russian-speaking regions, they did it in Texas. They did it with the American-Mexican War. What are you fucking talking about? The same thing was, American blood was spilled on American soil. Yeah, we got to go and help Texas. Texas was not... Read about it. Oh, yeah, it was the Sudetenland. Remember that bad guy, Adolf? We are Sudetenland. The same thing, go back to history. You're going to find these guys did it before. And in many other examples. Oh, we're going to ask because it must be peace in the Olympics. Really? Why don't you look in your history? In your masters. And your masters. And that's not the Americans, okay? And others. Did they do that? Now I'm going to give you another example. Remember when it was the Beijing Olympics? Right? If you don't, I tell you, because I am very familiar with what happened there. When Putin was at the opening ceremonies in Beijing with Xi Jinping and others, what war broke out, instigated by the guys that love peace and democracy? You remember? Yes, Mr. Saakashvili. Where is that? In the Republic of Georgia. They They attacked what? South Ossetia? You can tell me that's ours, it's not ours. The fact is, they start shooting. They invaded, they bombed. While Putin was at the opening ceremony. You don't believe me? The information is there. So click, and you're going to find out. How about that? Did France said stop that? I don't remember. Do you remember? No, because it didn't happen. So you see, these guys did garbage more than the other ones. Does it mean that, because they did it, these guys should do it? No, but it's a little bit more hypocritical, don't you think, to be a serial rapist and tell someone who rapes, 3 times or something like that, or 2 times, hey, I mean, yeah, okay, you can say that, but how about we start with you, chronologically? Or at least, you should have a little bit of less credibility of moral superiority. So Zakharova told them, I dare you, go and tell them to stop. They probably would say, but you know how. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.